Welcome to another inspiring edition of the Brandi Jo Show, your weekly dose of wealth and wisdom for a prosperous financial life. And here's your host, Brandi Jo Newman.
All right. We're going to make some veterans happy. Yes?
Well, I think that's a byproduct, but we're first going to serve them and
Serve them. Well,
give them
yeah, that's what I mean.
give them some hope again, and give them a sense of purpose and belonging, and then you and I and the other citizens around us will benefit, because we've got
Awesome.
some amazing people out there sleeping on the streets.
So tell me how you got started doing this. And just a little background. You reached out to me on LinkedIn, and it was through golf. And you're doing like some events and some experiences, and that's how you're raising money.
Well, we did reach out to you initially last year when we were going through our Member for a Day program. It was a tremendous fundraiser for us through the Member for a Day group, and we had a great experience with them. We're preparing for what we believe is going to be an unprecedented campaign, and we say that humbly, and it is an incredible matter that we're pursuing. But we're going to raise $100 million in 100 days. Later this year when we launch our Operation Because They Deserve Better campaign. And we're merely going to do that by mobilizing 1 million American patriots like you and I to give a one-time $100 donation. What's that?
Do that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm going to call on you. We have, through the years of research and just activity, I mean, there are thousands and thousands of nonprofit organizations out there doing their best to do good work, fighting hard to get grants, trying to get assistance from the government. But we don't believe this is a government problem, or it has exceeded the government's ability to respond to the problem. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but we believe that the men and women who served and fought and experienced the things that they did and the sacrifices that they gave, you and I owe them a debt of gratitude.
Absolutely.
And we believe that debt of gratitude will resonate with the American patriot. And for a nominal sum of $100, we'll be able to permanently house 6,720 homeless veterans in a home that not only from which they never have to move, but they ultimately can own. So everything we do, first of all, everything we do is driven by the words I wear here on my bracelet: because they deserve better. Because they do deserve better. And our vision is to allow a veteran, one, we're going to work with them to get them clean. We're going to work with them to get them ready to go into independent living. But when they move into a home, it's not a transitional home. It's not a temporary home. We are the only organization that we're aware of in the United States that exists for the sole purpose of providing permanent, affordable housing to homeless veterans. Not only do we want them to never have to move from it, but we also want them to be a homeowner. So we want to take our veterans from homeless to home ownership within a period of years, which is especially in today's economy and when today's regulations is really unheard of. But the men and women who are right now living on the streets used to have the keys to $1 million pieces of equipment, and used to have the most amazing technology at their hands, and have the responsibilities of lives and a lot. And now we don't trust them to do much more than passing by on the street.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. And great responsibility. And many people, unlike you and me, don't realize how much responsibility they take on. I think one of the things about me is I miss the military opportunity. It wasn't even in my purview. Didn't even, and just like the interview that I did earlier, it wasn't even in the realm of thoughts at the time. And now that I have been around the world a few times, I tell people that, getting on the the mini tours and trying to be a golfer, trying to be aspiring to be a world-class, ladies professional tour player, is that you get a PhD in culture and people, and the culture and the discipline that most 99% of the military personnel experience is what we outside of the military, what we strive to attain. And that's why we go through these self-development courses and these personal development courses, and we go see people like Tony Robbins. And if we had just, enlisted someplace to become a soldier or a Marine, we could have gotten that in 6 weeks at boot camp.
I come from a ball background, an athletics background, so
Yeah.
I know many of the things that I learned as a teammate and as a leader on teams resonates with our military to a far less degree. When you're in a foxhole with someone, that's a whole different experience than being in a huddle or a dugout with someone. But
Right. And having to depend on somebody else.
for your life. I met with a homeless veteran not long ago, and he'd been living in the woods behind a Chick-fil-A on a very busy highway for 3 years. And this gentleman was a combat medic in the late Vietnam era. And I could tell immediately he was a leader. He was highly intelligent, but had lost his way. When he got out of the Army, he built $500,000 home. So it wasn't that he came out and had a bad experience immediately and went to homelessness. And it was heartbreaking that
Right.
I couldn't hardly pay attention to what he was saying because the skin was peeling off of his face from being exposed to the sun. And our guys and gals, they deserve better.
Right. And everyone's, every soldier, every veteran's experience is unique.
It
But
is.
can you talk about kind of what happens? I mean, I know in my own struggles as just, a human being that, my low is not anywhere near some of these other lows. And can you share with us some of these experiences that you've learned from some of these soldiers to give us some examples about, where they're coming from and, where they started in the military? And if you could give some backgrounds on some bios and some of the people that you've gone close to.
Absolutely. And the one thing I have learned is there is no cookie cutter and there is no one issue that creates homelessness. There are, depending on what data you look at or what you choose to believe, there are anywhere from 33,000, probably closer to 75,000 homeless veterans at some stage of homelessness throughout the United States. So with this many folks, one, it is systemic. There are certain commonalities in homeless veterans and homeless people in general. But to be quite frank, when you begin to look at individual case studies, many of these are folks who had gainful employment, had a family, had from the outside looking in, all the things that it takes to quote to be happy in this world. But sometimes it's one bad financial decision. Sometimes it's something that happened to the person that they had no control over, whether it be abuse or a death in the family or some sort of natural disaster that took them from their job or took them from their home. Unfortunately, for so many millions and millions of Americans, we all or many people are one bad decision away from being on the streets.
Right. And all that does is that one little happening is the first domino.
It is.
And then the dominoes just seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a snowball rolling towards hell kind of a thing until it just, melts around you and then you're left with nothing. So let me, a little bit of background with me and homelessness. I feel for everyone. I try to but I try to feel empathy. The person here in San Antonio is that I look to for inspiration and guidance to about this issue of homelessness. I sat down with her at a brunch. We were introduced through a friend. Her name is Dawn White Fostick. She's executive director of CAM, Christian Assistance Ministries, which is a crisis center. It is not a homeless shelter. It's a crisis center. Anybody can go there who feels that they are in crisis for help, for food, for electric bill, for anything like that.
Nice.
Do not have to be homeless, but that is the prevailing demographic that they serve.
Okay.
It's the thing that I love about it is they take no public taxpayer money. Not even hardly any grants, I don't believe. It's all privately funded. It was started by, I want to say 7-8 churches in downtown San Antonio, and now it's over 80 churches
Great.
with significant benefactors that support them directly.
Hmm.
So I'm one of these people that, I don't want the government to be my charity arm. I want my dollars to go directly to the people that they can help the most. And we're sitting down at brunch and I said, okay, how do we fix homelessness? And she started out with, there's no amount of money, so it's not the money. And she says, there's programs in place that can help 90% of the people, that can help them get to where they can basically house themselves, whether that's group, whether that's private, whether that's with family or whatever.
Mhm.
She says, I don't think, and I may be misquoting her, so I'll say this right now, but what I got out of it was, you can't fix homelessness. It is a personal, homelessness in general. It is a personal, unique occurrence in every one of those individuals' lives. And the friend that introduced us to each other, she just wants to save the world one soul at a time, bless her heart. Our politics mesh most of the time, 90% of the time, and 10% of the time they don't. And she's got some ideas on some programs to help the mentally ill that are homeless.
Mhm.
And, the thing about it is she says, I don't think that we could ever, and this is going back to Dawn. She says, I don't think we can ever help everybody who doesn't know that they want help or doesn't know that they need help. And veterans were not, they were not a topic of discussion. And with your background and what I've researched and dug up about your organizations that you support and that you run, and then also with Black Rifle that help with substance abuse and homelessness and veterans as well. We can only help the person and the brother or the sister and the patriot the patriot that's our fellow patriot that's right in front of us. So with this 100 million, and I wrote it down, $100 million in 100 days, and it's 1 million people given $100.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that called? Is that what it's called?
The name of our campaign is Operation Because They Deserve Better.
Okay.
And it is predicated on the fact that they not only do they deserve better, many of them will, and I understand what you're saying about some folks are homeless because of choice. I personally,
and they don't know that they're making that choice, so they don't.
Correct.
Sometimes they don't even know where they are.
I agree, but there are tens of thousands, and I think we get down to different levels. But there are tens of thousands of people who just need a hand and can go on living like they did. There are a number of folks that need some guidance and encouragement. So many people associate alcoholism and drug abuse with homelessness, and it's hard not to go out on the streets and make that and understand why so many do. But we found that so many people become homeless before they become alcoholics and drug addicts. I think some people think that the opposite occurs. But I give the example of a couple of years ago, I found out that I had a thyroid issue, and that thyroid issue was making my body do crazy things and making me feel very crazy. But I had the ability to see a doctor, get a prescription for Synthroid that I take, a pill every morning that makes me feel normal. But if I'm on the streets and I don't have the ability to get that care, and I don't have the ability to afford that medicine, I'm going to mask that crazy feeling that I have with my body with whatever I can get my hands on, drugs and alcohol.
Self-medicate.
Exactly. And hopelessness, I hope that you and I never get to the point of hope. We've been sad, and we probably have had some bad days,
Right.
but that's the difference between being sad and being depressed and being hopeless.
Right.
And everything that we do, from a sense of how we've designed our bases, how we're pursuing to get the right people on base, is really to reinstill that sense of community. When you talk about people who want to be, you don't know that they want to be homeless. We all have an innate desire to be connected, to be wanted, and to be needed, and to have some value, to be able to pursue our purpose for which we were created. And that's really our goal, is these amazing. If you had asked me years ago, Drew, what's the win? What are you after? I would have intuitively said, well, when we hand over the 37,000th key to the last homeless veteran, we will have accomplished the mission. But that really has changed so dramatically over the years that the true win is going to be when we bring in 84 previously homeless veterans into a community, reinstill their sense of hope, get them healthy again, get their job skills training where it needs to be, get them the medication that they need. And when they reconnect with a sense of community, the cities and municipalities where our bases are built, we believe those will be transformed for generations to come. And when we unleash the amazing talent, skills, abilities, patriotism, dedication of these men and women, the cities that we're building these bases will never be the same.
Awesome. So obviously San Antonio, military city, USA. Tell me about is it a development, or are you investing in single family homes? Is it one project? Is it a neighborhood? Describe it for me.
We call them bases. Every base will have 84 homes in 7 12-home squadrons. They'll be positioned. If you go to our website, mightyherohomes.org, you'll see an image of our rendering of our homes. We're going to build 450 of these across the country in order to accomplish the mission. And in order to do so, we've got to be able to construct a lot of homes per week, upwards of 84 homes per week. And there's no concept right now, even on a modular basis, that contemplates that. So we've designed and created what we call a core section building strategy by using strategies to build portions of the home in a factory environment, be able to ship those to a location, install them expertly in a prompt manner, finish them on site, with many of our components of these homes carrying 20, 30, and 50-year warranties. Again, we want home ownership. These are not transitional or temporary homes. We want these homes to last just so like yours and mine will. But on our bases, in addition to 84 homes per base, each 12-home squadron will have a 1,600 square foot squadron activity center in the middle. Our homes are smaller homes. We wish we could build 1,200 or 2,000 square foot homes for every veteran. Simply, that's just not feasible. So these are smaller homes, but the squadron activity center, which will allow 12 veterans within that squadron to share a meal together, watch the Super Bowl together. It'll have outdoor seating, outdoor dining, outdoor barbecue, etc. Will serve as an extension to these homes. In addition, these bases are 20 to 25 acres. So there's a lot of green space. There's Veterans Park right in the middle of the base. There'll be walking paths, bike paths, wheelchair paths throughout the base. Then we'll also have a 6,000 square foot community activity center or community center on each base, where we'll have on one wing will be health services. We'll ask the VA, invite the VA to bring in a team of doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners to be able to treat 84 veterans at one time, as opposed to 84 veterans having to get appointments months in advance, hours away, only to sit in the lobby for 9 hours to be told they got to come back next week. Be able to treat all those veterans on base. And that can be from anywhere from medication management, whether it be thyroid or diabetes or what have you. We'll provide care for addiction, ongoing care for addiction, ongoing care for things such as PTSD, et cetera. On the other wing of this community center will be a job skills training, partnering with tremendous organizations throughout the country to provide skills training to our veterans, whether it be to get a GED or get welding skills or driving skills. Single mothers is our fastest growing segment of homeless veterans in the country. So to be able to train our single mothers to be able to receive gainful employment so they can take care of their children while they're on base and beyond. But two of the other things we're really excited about on our base is every veteran on base will be given the opportunity to be trained and certified to be a canine trainer for companion dogs and service dogs. Our partner in our canine training space has placed 3,800 dogs in the history of their career. They said they can place 10,000 right now, but there simply are not enough people to train these dogs, to get these dogs to our veterans who could tremendously benefit from them. So we're going to serve as a force multiplier to have many veterans trained to be trainers, to not only have their own dog perhaps, but to train these dogs that can be exported in a much more rapid fashion across the country.
Yeah.
We'll also have commercial gardens. Their gardening is therapeutic. Plus, it gives the opportunity for the veterans to connect with the local community. Will be a source of income for some, and we'll have various employment opportunities on base. Every base will be gated and secure, so there'll be security guards at the gate, front entrance gate. Landscaping crew. Every base will have 2 8-passenger vans to take veterans to church, school, etc. So we'll have drivers for these vans. In our community center will be a commissary, so we'll have clerks working the commissary desk, and throughout the base there'll be a number of on-base job opportunities, as well as taking the skills that we're able to train them and put them to gainful employment in the cities outside of the base.
I love all of this because, sometimes we look to, the government to fix our problems. And I'm always a big believer that it should start at the community level. And
Amen.
then, once you help one person, that person helps another, and that person helps another, and it's just
That's right.
exponential. The sharing, and I'm one of these people that believes in oneness, that we're all connected somehow. And I'm actually studying some texts from around the year 800, how we discovered the self, and how the self, we're ageless, genderless, colorless. We're all, the same inside. And somehow we've grown an ego, and somehow we forgot that that we all are empaths. And if we could just put ourselves in someone else's shoes to realize that everyone's doing the best that they can at their level of their perspective in that particular moment. And I'm one of these people that I get easily frustrated with people when it's like right in front of their face to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Not only for the rest of us, but for themselves. This is just incredible. How much? So $100 million is going to pay for one, or how many?
Our bases will run $15 to $16 million per base, depending on land acquisition cost. But through our initial raise of $100 million, we'll qualify for some very beneficial match programs, what we call last mile grants. There are organizations that like to pay the last 25% of a big capital project. They want to see that you're going to get there before they put their money in.
Right.
So we'll be able to take that $100 million, and we believe over a period of up to 10 years, we'll be able to expand that 100 million upwards to over $1 billion.
That's great.
Through smart financial management.
That's great. You reminded me of what my mother did for our local library in Mount Enterprise, Texas. In Rusk County, there's 5 precincts, and each precinct had a library that was funded by the county. But the individual needed to put a team together and needed to raise as much money as you possibly could to get it paid for. And then they had been building this. So I got involved with Mount Enterprise in 2009, 2010, and I was asked to be a judge at one of their chili cook-off fundraisers. And I asked my mother to go, and my dad had already passed away. And my mother got involved, as we do. We get involved. We make shit happen. And she gets involved, and she's sitting on the Friends of the Library, in the little Friends of the Library circle there in Mount Enterprise, Texas. And she realized that they had maybe raised about $11,000 in 20 years from doing chili cook-offs and fish fries and selling brownies and cakes,
Right.
kind of a thing. And, you know, she got in there, she got stuff going. The land had already been donated. And then she donated the aggregate and the road base and everything for the foundation. And then they got about, they got probably, I think it was like $100,000 more once she got involved. And then she
Wow.
financed the last 25% herself. And then got it done. And then you do all of that, and then you donate it to the county. So it was a good thing for my mother. So a little bit of props for my mother there. And I'm sure that she will be one of your 1 million for $100. I'm sure of that.
Amen. What you mentioned is, I was going to say just a moment ago when we were talking about ego and self. And for me personally, after 37 years in corporate America and business ownership, this process of being obedient to the call that was placed on my heart and my desire to pursue my purpose, it really came to a point of transforming completely to a servant. I personally didn't have the opportunity to serve in the military. Going in the Air Force was my plan B if I didn't get the opportunity to play ball. But I look at it, this is my opportunity to serve those who are worthy of being served. And that mentality has really changed my entire life, how I look at things, how I respond to things, how I value things. And that's what the good Lord has assembled, such an amazing team of folks who are pursuing their own purpose and their own passion, and doing so. And our homeless heroes are the recipient of just our desire to be obedient. I call it, I have an obsessive personality. I don't do many things, but the things I do, I tend to do to obsession. Yeah. So I've turned that into a positive. So I'm seeking to be obsessively obedient to just doing what he's calling me to do on a daily basis relative to our homeless heroes.
Yep. Do you know your personality type, Drew?
Oh, I'm always, depending on the test, I'm driver, or I'm red, or I'm the lion. I'm OCD, to the nth degree. And
yeah.
So you know my type.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just wondering about your Myers-Briggs, which are the 4 letters. I'm ENTP.
I've taken that before.
Yeah.
I'm up in that top left quadrant or quadrant.
Yeah.
So and there's certainly there's pros and cons with all.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a my business coach gave me a guidebook to give people to how to communicate with me.
That's fair.
Yeah. So tell me, where is the first base? Where are you wanting to build first?
The first base will be in McDonough, Georgia, which is about 30 miles south of Atlanta, right down I-75. We are in discussion right now with the county. The county has graciously offered to provide our first acreage, a 19.2 acre parcel right in a great area of town. We're in final negotiations with them right now on that. We look forward to finalizing that in June and be able to start work shortly thereafter. We're finalizing it's kind of getting into the weeds, but the hire of our marketing campaign, who's going to help us with our operation because they deserve better. But that's going to do that would be the most significant marketing raise in the history of our country. So we don't have the ability to do that just on our social media,
Right.
outlets. But we do believe, first of all, there are 380,000 churches in America, and the Bible tells us that we are to feed the hunger and shelve the one and provide shelter to the wanderer. We believe we can mobilize a vast portion of those 380,000 churches. And if we were to have 100,000 churches give a $100 donation as a church, which we think is a reasonable ask, that'll put us well on our way for our $100 million raise. The other group that we're seeking to mobilize is our students. Unfortunately, in our society today, many students don't even know what a veteran is.
Yeah.
Cannot connect to the understanding of homelessness in general. So we believe that there's a real opportunity here to train our students, to give our students incentive to do something that's beyond themselves, to understand the value that the veterans have brought to our United States, the fact that they can help this homeless crisis that we have. It's not just in the veteran space, but all over. And with the millions and millions of students, whether it be $100 per homeroom or $100 per varsity football team or National Honor Society club, we believe that as one, we're providing a reasonable, scalable, affordable solution. So in our opinion, the only long-term solution to homelessness amongst our veterans is to provide homes. And from 2010 to 2020, the U.S. government spent $10 billion to address veteran homelessness.
Yeah.
And through our research, we found that, and I'm not trying to be ugly, and I'm sure someone can debate this, but for $10 billion, there were a lot of websites built and pamphlets created and hotlines noticed and staffs hired and buildings furnished. But the one thing that we do know that was not built with that $10 billion, not a single home for a veteran was built. Our entire budget, $7.2 billion. If we had the ability to receive a $7.2 billion grant or donation right now, every homeless veteran in the United States could be housed permanently in a home that they can own. So we believe our solution, again, is scalable, it is cost effective, and it is a solution that we have vetted amongst the experts in the field of homelessness, the experts in the field of drug and alcohol dependency. Certainly in our military leaders, one of our board members is a 2-star major general. So we're seeking to be pragmatic, very aggressive, because every day that we're planning and we're talking and we're strategizing, our veterans are on the streets yet another night. So we know we can't be everything to everyone, but we know we can build homes at a reasonable pace, at a high level of quality that a veteran can afford, that where they can come in, and if they want to stay there the rest of their lives, they can.
Love it. Love it. It's actionable, boots on the ground, getting stuff done. Are you going to do this first one in phases? Like, are you going to try to do 20? Or are you going to try to build all of them at the same time and then open it up?
Full bore. Our first structure will be a complete squadron, in which will ultimately turn into our corporate campus. And what I mean by that is there'll be 12 homes with a squadron activity center in the middle. But in that squadron, we not only will have several fully furnished models for people who want to come see what we're doing to be able to walk through, but we're also going to provide these for them to stay in. So if you're coming from San Antonio to Atlanta, Georgia to see a Mighty Hero home base, instead of putting you up in the Hampton Inn and you driving over for a meeting, you get to stay in a Mighty Hero home base. They're on our home and on our corporate campus. So when you go back to talk to your constituents, you can say, you know what, I stayed in one of those. They're efficient, they're comfortable, they're much more spacious than I thought, and I think this is the solution for our area. We'll also have a couple of emergency use homes there on our campus we are all the time receiving calls from folks who are being evicted or their homeless camp was torn down. They have no place to go, literally. And so while we are solely focused on permanency, And we do know that there are some short-term solutions that we can help some local folks, and we certainly want to do that as well. One thing I was going to mention earlier is, in addition to the other base features and functions, we have a growing population of older veterans as well, and that will continue to be the case. So we'll have designated squadrons or designated locations on our base for geriatric homes. So someone who may even be bedridden or is not very mobile, instead of having to live between a sheet from someone else living in the hospital bed next to them, they too will be able to have their own home where they can receive their own visitors. We'll have a caregiver that's on base or that perhaps lives in that squadron who can provide care to everyone within that squadron. So instead of going from, sheet to sheet or even room to room, if they've in a converted hotel or something, they can go from home to home. And these veterans who are not able to get out very much will still have the dignity of living on their own, and again being able to accept their visitors and have their family and friends come and visit them, sometimes in their last days or years.
Yeah, before they graduate. I call it graduating.
Amen.
Is the campaign open right now?
It's not. We ran a pilot and received tremendous feedback. Obtained wonderful information and data. So we're finalizing our hire for our marketing firm, and our marketing firm that'll be the first step towards the launch. And we believe there's probably 60 days at least in working with our marketing firm before we get to day one of the 100-day campaign.
Okay.
But we're believing that it's kind of shaping up that day 100 will be right at or on Veterans Day of this year. Which couldn't work out better from a great announcement perspective. Yeah.
So are you going to launch on Veterans Day?
We hope that that's the conclusion. So day 100.
Okay,
day 100
that makes more sense, because then you got Christmas and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. But we certainly are open to. We have many people who have learned of our campaign. One thing that we are doing in our campaign that we do know is that we'll have ambassadors. So I will invite you to be an ambassador, and what that means, and we are about to distribute information about this, is that an ambassador merely is someone who gives $100 and then reaches out to your network to have 10 of your friends also to give a $100 and be responsible for following up on that, so that you within your circle, you're raising $1,100 as an ambassador. That will require us to mobilize 100,000 ambassadors, which helps us make this challenge what we feel to be more doable.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Absolutely. And here in San Antonio, we tend to put our differences aside when it comes to veterans and the military. So that's actually a good thing.
Absolutely.
You might have noticed last year that I was doing some campaigns for Stop Soldier Suicide.
Yep. One of our partners, great organization.
Yeah. And it's the challenges that they do. And I was doing I was doing a live while I was doing my I think I did 100 miles in September, and then I did a 50-mile 22-pound ruck march. I did 5 miles a day, or I don't know what I was doing. But that first campaign, I think it was 100 miles in 30 days, and I don't run. I do not run without being chased. I think that was a little over $700. And then, given that it was during the political season, when I was all over social media, it was over $2,000 that we raised during that ruck march. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely do something. I'm actually pinging Sean Payton right now. So getting him. And then when I see David Robinson at the car wash, when the rain stops, I'll mention it to him.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah. Someone like David, he certainly gets it. And
he does.
Tremendous human.
Well, what else? What else can we share?
Well, we have a couple of exciting upcoming campaigns. Like you said, we're not going to be able to build 450 bases on cookie sales and bake sales.
Right.
But we do have expenses that we've got to cover, and we've got people that we're helping right now. So one of the exciting things upcoming is next week, actually, we were selected by NASCAR as being one of their nonprofit organizations that will benefit from their 75 hours of giving in commemoration for their 75th year anniversary.
Okay.
We learned today that less than 10% of all the nonprofits that they selected got the ability to do a video and upload a video. So we did a video. It was a team effort, so it's not professionally done, but it turned out wonderfully. It helps tell our story about homeless veterans and what we're doing. So our video got selected by NASCAR, so that will run for an entire hour during their 75-hour campaign. So we're excited about that. We've got a number of organizations who have pledged matching funds. And for yourself or any viewers or anyone who may be interested, go to our website and you'll see prominently listed our NASCAR event. Click onto that. There's ways to get commemorative helmets and T-shirts and coins directly from NASCAR by helping us. And we've got a number of things coming up that are all listed on our website that gives people a chance to connect and help us in various ways.
So they're dedicating 75 hours. It's a 75-hour window that you can collaborate with NASCAR and the NASCAR Foundation, and it's on May 19th.
May 16th through 19th, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I will make a point to share that as well. Is there another campaign going on?
Our construction partner, Ray Lynn Construction out of Carrollton, Georgia, they're a 50-year-old family business that builds hospitals and schools and sports complex. When they learned about the Mighty Hero Homes mission, the first reaction was, man, we love what you're doing and we want to personally help you with some donations, but that's really not what we do as a company. But they just couldn't shake it. So they said, you know what, we're going to do this. So they've signed up to be our partner. So they're doing their annual barbecue fundraiser, which has been a tremendous event for local charities on June the 15th and 16th. And they have selected us as the beneficiary for that. And we're going to do a couple of cool things at that event. We're going to unveil our display of our home. So we'll have a home there that's partially constructed so people can see the quality of craftsmanship and construction of a Mighty Hero home. The furnishings of a Mighty Hero home. We also have been blessed to be sponsored by Basel Watches. We're going to auction off 4 military spec watches that are made by veterans in the United States for veterans and have been endorsed by the U.S. Army.
Cool.
So we'll have that opportunity. Then we're also partnered with a company that produces what's called military mascots. They're small little plush toys that were originally created to give to servicemen and women's children as they were deployed, to give them something to leave behind until mom or dad got back home. They have selected us as their new partner for military mascots, and you can see that online as well. So we'll be marketing those, and those are they're working to get those in all the Major League Baseball stadiums and NFL stadiums in the country, so that people can support Mighty Hero Homes through a very nominal $10 donation for a really quality built little stuffed animal that kids, and one's an Army guy and one's a Navy guy, one's a Marine, one's an Air Force, and they all sort of take on the spirit of those organizations. But again, there's a number of other things that are happening. We would appreciate the support that any patriot can give. While our campaign is not launched, we've already had 400 or 500 people sign up to be patriots and ambassadors. So anyone who says, you know, I'm ready to go now, we can provide you the information as an ambassador to give your $100 and to get your 10 family and friends to join you.
Yeah, that would be great. Awesome.
I'll send you that information.
Please, yeah. So tell me about the watches again. What's the name of the watch company?
Basel, B-A-U-S-E-L-E. They're an Australian watch manufacturer, very high line watch manufacturer. The mil spec watches that we'll be marketing, or that we've been blessed to be sponsored by, is a military grade watch, and you'll be able to see that on our website soon. But you can go to basel.com and see the military watch. You're just another company that sees the value of getting involved and doing what they can do to help. So they've been gracious to donate 4 watches for us that we'll auction off there to raise some resources. And then we receive a percentage of every watch that they sell going forward as well. So
Through a specific link?
on the website.
Yeah. So
Uh,
when the percentage of every watch that is derived from your marketing, is there a specific link for that?
There is, and I'll
Okay.
send that to you. That's just for the mil spec watches. They produce a number of watches, but we benefit when a mil spec watch is purchased.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you've got a
Yeah.
lot going on. I love that you're doing it at a grassroots level. I love that it's direct, that obviously my dollars, that the highest percentage goes directly to help those people that I really want to help. So thank you very much, Drew.
Yeah, amen. Well, to that point, our successful campaign, the $100 million campaign, will allow us in year one for over 95% of every dollar raised to go directly to the cause. But that also will help us establish an endowment. So in year 2 and beyond, 100% of every penny that we raise in year 2 and beyond will go directly to building Mighty Hero home bases, because our operating expenses will be taken care of through our endowment.
Excellent. Can you come back can you come back in June and let us know how the NASCAR 75-hour campaign went, and also what was it, Ray Lynn Contracting?
Yes, ma'am. Ray Lynn Construction,
out of Georgia.
their annual barbecue. Yes, ma'am. I'll be happy to be
come back
honored
in late June and let us know how it's going, and then we can get ramped up for the 100-day campaign.
Yes, ma'am. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Drew.
It's great to meet you. I love San Antonio. I haven't been out there in a while, but the next time I come, I'll bring my sticks and we can see.
I'm hoping that you're going to build a base here.
We got to. It's definitely on our short list.
Yeah.
You guys have the need. You have.
I hope we're in the top 3.
Texas is actually the 4th state.
Okay.
Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and then Texas.
Okay. All right.
We
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for helping us spread the word. Thank you for your support, and I'll send you that information I promised to you, and look forward to seeing you again in late June.
All right. We'll do it.
Yes, ma'am. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks for listening to The Brandi Jo Show. You can find out more on her website, brandijonewman.com.